A fossil of a crane was found in Nebraska that dates nearly 10 million years old, making cranes one of the oldest species of birds in existence today. The sandhill crane is the most abundant crane species in the world, represented by several subspecies across North America. Although most are migratory, several small populations can be found year-round in Mississippi, Florida, and Cuba. The Rocky Mountain population of greater sandhill cranes is the most abundant subspecies that winters in the Bosque del Apache National Wildlife Refuge. They are the largest of all the sandhills, standing 4 feet tall with a wingspan of over 6 feet. Immature cranes are mostly rust-colored their first year, after which they turn mostly gray and exhibit a red facial patch. Cranes are monogamous but will take a new mate if a previous mate dies. They can reproduce as early as 2 years of age and live upwards of 25 years. Displays of dancing are an important part of the courtship process. Dancing is more common among young birds as they select mates, although older birds may get caught up in the fun. Dancing consists of bowing, jumping, head swinging, and wing spreading. They may call out, flap their wings, and even throw small items into the air. Whole groups may take up the dance. The show often ends as quickly as it began, after which the cranes go back to feeding as if nothing had happened. The nesting range for the Rocky Mountain population of cranes includes western Montana, the greater Yellowstone Basin, Utah, and northwestern Colorado. The largest nesting population of Rocky Mountain population cranes is at Grays Lake National Wildlife Refuge, located in a wide valley in southeastern Idaho. Cranes return to the same nesting grounds each year, where they disappear in pairs to their secretive nesting areas. Nests are usually on dry mounds located in shallow water, which lends protection from predators. Cranes lay 2 eggs, and both parents incubate the eggs, with the female incubating about 70% of the time. Hatching occurs after 28 to 36 days. Hatchlings or colts can walk immediately after hatching and begin to forage with their parents. Within days of hatching, the nest is abandoned. The young will stay with their parents until next spring, learning about feeding strategies, survival tactics, and migration. As fall approaches, cranes gather in large groups at staging areas to rest, feed, and socialize for several weeks before beginning their southern journey. Within those groups, the small family units stay intact so the adults may continue to protect and guide the juveniles. Along their southerly route, the cranes will spend several weeks in the San Luis Valley of southern Colorado, preparing for the last leg of their journey. The cranes move southward to places where the wetlands aren't frozen, where they can feed and rest in relative safety. Today, they spend the winter primarily in central and southern New Mexico and southeastern Arizona, but historically spread into Chihuahua and Zacatecas, Mexico. Bosque del Apache National Wildlife Refuge and the Middle Rio Grande Valley annually host approximately 30,000 sandhill cranes. Throughout the winter, sandhill cranes consume corn, chufa, rodents, and invertebrates. This helps them maintain fat reserves for survival and eventually to store essential nutrients and fat in preparation for spring migration and the breeding season. In February, warming temperatures and longer days prompt the cranes to begin their northern migration. Warm air creates thermals that lift the birds into spiraling columns, achieving elevations from 3,000 to over 12,000 feet. Flying in V formations helps them travel as far as 500 miles in 9 to 10 hours. Their calls can be heard from 1 to 2 miles away, and cranes are more often heard than seen as they head north at high altitude. In late March and early April, the Rocky Mountain population of greater sandhill cranes arrived back on their breeding grounds to mate and begin the cycle again, as they have done for millions of years.